Not only have I decided that growing up isn't for me, I've decided to actively backtrack and grow down, become more childlike because I am beyond exhausted. And hopefully by the end of this video, I can convince you to do the same because I realized that this wasn't just about daydreaming about a better life. It's scarier than that. Growing down is about purpose. Like, I miss the days when a teacher asked you what you wanted to be when you grew up and you could say like literally whatever you wanted. You can say you wanted to be a doctor, an astronaut, a princess, a movie star, and all of those responses would get the same amount of excitement and encouragement. And the whole point behind that was that the adults and teachers in our lives knew how important it was to not demoralize and crush the spirit of a child. And it's ironic that the whole world followed this very biblical command. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Ephesians 4:29. But then as soon as we turn going between 16 and 18, discouragement is somehow meant to be our motivation. We aren't allowed to dream anymore. We need to be practical. We need to fit neatly into a system that trains us to value stability over purpose, income over calling, and survival over making a legitimate impact. And on top of all of that, we're expected to be happy with retiring for the last 10 years of our life, living a very sick and already dying situation. And this literally just came to mind now, but I remember reading a comment on another video earlier today that said we've been trained to call our future desires dreams and fantasies instead of goals. And that was just a wow moment for me because I completely agree. And honestly, I felt like I was the only one because of just how far and few in between these opinions are found and actually spoken out loud. You are literally scorned for being happy, scorned for having hope, told that you are being pretentious or narcissistic for desiring to have a higher purpose in your work other than get money to pay the bills and do it over and over and over again. But why? Why is it bad to desire a purpose like children? Because in my opinion, abandoning our inner child is making everything worse. Really just think about it for a second. The best doctors are the ones who became doctors because they wanted to help people. Now the doctors are doctors because it pays well after a certain amount of time, and as a result, patients are not getting the best care that they could possibly be getting. So whether you are the person who is in the purposeless job or the recipient of it, it's clear that the world's version of growing up is literally killing us. We need purpose in order to survive. It goes further than just, the pursuit of happiness. And I'm not just saying that as a personal opinion anymore. There was a 10-year study in China about bridge employment. And this is the practice of getting a low impact job after retiring. So the retired people who got small jobs on the side, they lived longer and happier in their retirement versus the ones who retired and did nothing but relax without a care, which is more of, I guess, the Western version of what retirement is. And honestly, in most cases, that was if they were lucky. The ones who decided they would retire that traditional Western way had no purpose anymore, no usefulness, and suffered cognitive decline, depression, and physical health risks, like obesity, diabetes, all of that stuff. That's why you see so many old people in countries like Japan, though, on the other side of things, working small jobs like cleaning sidewalks or helping kids cross the street. It isn't elderly slavery. It's giving them a purpose in their society. And honestly, call me crazy if you want, but working hard so you have enough retirement income to fund your tiny happy shop that maybe, at best breaks even isn't a bad thing. That is literally living the Studio Ghibli dream, to be able to do what you want and not be worried about profit and just live in the moment. Be generous, be happy. And isn't that how we lived when we were younger? We did things because it made us happy. We did things because it was right. There was no gray area. It was black and white. And I think that we need to get back to that. And I know this is kind of out of a left field, but this saying always comes back to me when the adult side of me just wants to brush everything off by saying it's complicated and that's why you can't do anything. And the saying is this: sin isn't complicated. We complicate sin. So I think the same principle applies here right now in our everyday life situation, not just the moral law when it comes to pursuing our purpose. Pursuing your dreams is hard. Maybe it's even discouraging, but it isn't complicated. There is a reason why we are told to have the hearts of children, because saying it's complicated isn't a deterrent, and that's the reason why the concept of growing up has been distorted in this fallen world. It's because if we grow up the way God intended, you'd literally be unstoppable. Think of Joshua, who spied on the promised land. Did he see those giants? 100%. But with his childlike heart, he was able to wholeheartedly say, but like, God said the promised land is ours, so let's just go to the promised land. Like, point blank period. Like, it's not complicated. It could be scary, it could be discouraging, intimidating, but it's not complicated. And Joshua was able to do that. He grew up to be able to spy on these dangerous giants, something like, a 2, 3, 7-year-old could not be able to do, but he didn't grow out of his faith. So the issue isn't that we've grown up like the world wants us to think. Like, that saying, like, adulting sucks or adulting is hard. I think we need to veto that out of our vocabulary. The issue is how we've grown up, because the most dangerous people are the ones who don't fear man, which is all fine and dandy, but you would be dangerous if you feared no man and feared God instead. Like, I just have to put that in there. For the Lord will be your confidence, and will keep your foot from being snared. Proverbs 3:26. Like, if God is for me, who can be against me? Who can be against you? Literally, like, imagine having the discipline of an adult, the efficiency and the strength of an adult, but having the clarity and faith of a child. Dare I say, have the audacity of a child, the ability to build and endure. But the world is still black and white when it comes to right and wrong, and most importantly, calling. Instead of overthinking purpose, like, babe, you're just living it. That's what we've lost. It isn't about ambition. It isn't even about the ability, because honestly, skills can all be learned, they can be trained. It's about losing that childlike fire. Again, like that childlike audacity, because people are impressed and even inspired when a child takes a stance on what is right and what is wrong. And they will always tell you it's because their parents said so, point blank period. So why is it that when we grow up, we are expected to almost always say no? We're expected to do the opposite, and we're shunned for listening to our parents, and more importantly, listening to our Father in heaven. This is where the purpose part comes in, because I genuinely don't think any of us can have a purpose if we don't have that childlike mind to impress God through our obedience. When I was younger, and even now, my desire has always been to take care of my parents and to make them proud. And when God is in the picture, that desire just totally expanded to something eternal. Now my promise is to use my talents and passions to encourage others in their faith, to make God happy through obedience and trust in Him, and building my relationship, my foundation on Him. And taking care of my parents, honestly, it's even more precious now, because it's not seen as a goal anymore. It's seen as a really great blessing. I mean, Lord willing that I'm able to actually do that. Your girl's only 28. But we can't do that if we listen to the world and, quote, grow up in discouragement and essentially slavery in a world that has us praying for strength every nanosecond of the day. Forget daily prayers. Sometimes it feels like that isn't even enough. We need to be bold. And I just made a video about being bold and seeing everything through God's eyes. So if you want more on my thoughts for that specific topic, you can go check it out. But the point I want to take from that specific video is that we need to be unafraid and unapologetic about our faith in order to pursue our purpose and actually live that life. A life that is fulfilling, a life that can make us say, I fought the good fight. Because believe it or not, and this is a recent discovery for me, work was not part of the curse when man fell. The curse was work that concluded in fruitlessness. Work now has come with thorns that we'll have to prick ourselves with. But work, in its purest form, is a blessing. And I think in order to find your purpose, you should go back to your purest form, the form that knows no other way to live other than to dream and live in the moment. And ask yourself, what is that one thing I have always wanted to do? What is the talent and passion God has given me that has never been shaken? And then go into biblical adulthood, the one that is prudent and patient. I'm thinking of Proverbs 21:5, good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. See what happens. See how much more you can push yourself and work without burning out because your work has purpose serving the Lord, because you are utilizing every inch of how God has knit you instead of working against your nature for 10 hours of your day. Because the truth is that God gave us all a purpose. He gave us all dreams for a reason. Some may not be as flashy as others, but by no means is living a purpose-filled and edifying life as rare as the world would like you to think.